Welcome to the 41st episode of Nerds and Friends. Today we have Nicholas joining us today. Thank you so much for coming on. And quick important PSA from Carey.
The PSA for the day is I need everybody to go out and watch the 1967 British spy thriller, The $1 Billion Brain, starring Michael Caine. If you are a student of history in any way, shape, or form, it will be fun. If you are not a student of history in any way, shape, or form, it will be fun. You get to see Michael Caine at his most suave and his most debonair, doing a spy thriller justice. A good Cold War spy thriller at the height and 4 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis. It is fantastic on about 9 different levels that I can't get into, but there's your 30-second recommendation. Go watch The $1 Billion Brain.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Well, Nick, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's good to have a friend on just to shoot the shit and hang out with, man?
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's good to holler from the good old Rocky state of Colorado. So, of course, where we met, and how is the weather out there in California?
So it's a pretty hot one today.
At least really?
Yes. Then again, I've gained some weight. So today it still feels hot. So I don't know. I need to get a haircut desperately because I'm like, with this mop of hair, I'm just like sweating all the time.
I got you. That shit too.
I was going to get a haircut today, but I took a nap instead. And so tomorrow I will get a haircut.
Nice. I took a nap and barely got my bed made in time for the podcast. I was like, oh no, got to pretend like I'm clean.
I moved my camera so you can't see my unmade bed.
Nice.
Ultimate laziness. I was like, and tilt up.
No, it's okay. We have some people where you can tell how much of an author they are by the fact that they are calling in from what is either a guest room or a broom closet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like this could go either way, but I'm seeing a lot of plastic tubs and one swinging light bulb. So
Nice. I love it. No, and it's so true. But the funny thing about artists is I feel like, especially when you're in that state of creativity, is you have to find a box that you can kind of shut out, to be explicitly original. And I think that helps you to kind of put that energy in that zone, and a lot of the best authors you see will either get lost in nature, or if they're stuck in the concrete jungle, they find a cave to hide in, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
I'm currently on the market for a new cave in Los Angeles, and they're expensive.
They are.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing, it's an actual cave. It's $2,000 a month.
No kitchen, barely
no running water. Yeah.
No, seriously, today I was looking at apartments. There were some studios and they were like, yeah, this is almost $2,000 a month. And I was like, where's the kitchen? They're like, oh, there isn't one. And I was like,
oh yeah, the bachelor apartments.
Yes, what we call the hot plate express.
Oh, dude! When you're on Craigslist and you actually see the picture of the hot plate, like hot plate included, like no, fuck off.
No. It's like a dual hot plate with a griddle.
There's a microwave that has
that I might go for. I don't know. The griddle sells me. The griddle sells me.
This is true.
24/7 chef Mike on duty, right? The guy that puts in the most work in American homes, for sure. No questions asked. Yeah, definitely. I love that. So Josh, how's your current book coming? What projects are you busting into? What are we seeing?
Well, I'm working on 2 projects right now. I'm working on The Owl and the Eagles, which is a fantasy novel. I'm a little ways into that. I've kind of been putting that on the back burner and focusing more on my screenplay, Remote Investigation, which I'm currently almost done with the 3rd draft of. I have 13 pages left, and then I'll be scheduling a script read, and hopefully the rewrites I get from that should be the 4th and final draft before we go into a script breakdown and get ready to produce it, because I want to make it this year, because it's set during the pandemic. So I'm like, now's the time to make it,
Yes,
so
yes.
as the pandemic winds down, like, let's do it, so.
Yeah, let's be reminded,
While it's still relevant, I need to crank it out.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, it depends on how cathartic it is, man. I mean, what's the that Ruben Fleischer movie, 30 minutes or less?
I'm not familiar with this movie.
It's loosely based off of the pizza bomber thing that happened in the middle of Indiana. Yeah, but it's
that was in the last decade, right? That's like recent-ish.
Yeah, that's the recent. I want to say it was like I think this was actually like in the
15 or 16.
2010s, like the movies from like 15 or 16. It might actually been like 12 or earlier, but the incident was like early 2000s. And if you want to watch a documentary that is to me quintessentially an overlong docuseries, you can look up the one about the pizza bomber on Netflix, because you could just tell that they really were excited about, and like they'd put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
But it should have just been a 2-hour fucking documentary. Instead, it was 4 hours of like it. Like this was like the last 3 episodes of any anime that you've ever watched, where you're like, this could have been 10 minutes, but you had to cram in every fucking pithy line that fell out of the writer's head, like while they stand there and just say things to each other. I'm sorry, but like, let the vampire fight the goddamn butler and let's be done with it.
I just gotta say, if I was a domestic terrorist, I would be very sad to be labeled the pizza bomber. I would definitely want a more badass moniker if I was a domestic terrorist.
Exactly. The pizza bomber's is very unfortunately, because it fucking happened, is a D-list Batman villain. Like that's the Batman villain that pops up in a cop. Like that's where Grant Morrison takes a whole comic to write a comic about this failing villain called the Pizza Bomber, who's desperately trying to get Batman's attention, and who he gets is like the 5th Robin.
Yeah, right.
Like the only one that comes after him is Robin.
Like Robin's cousin removed, like second cousin removed, you know? Like he totally
I will find you.
I'm Bluebird.
The pizzas you've been delivering have been cold. You know, he just like it's like those kind of lines.
Wow.
Revenge is a dish best served exploded. Like, that was not pithy. We're gonna throw that out.
No.
So Hollywood, we all are available for hire to write the screenplay for the Pizza Bomber.
Yes.
Manifesting that in the universe.
100%.
We have equally as much love and compassion for the project as Michael Bay, but none of the budget.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. And a few less hours behind the reel.
Yeah, a lot less hours behind
the reel. I'm kidding. No disrespect to Michael Bay.
Hey, dude,
we can disrespect Michael Bay.
We can disrespect a lot of Michael Bay, but I love the movie The Rock.
Oh, me too. So, oh my goodness, one of my favorites.
I also like The Island.
Favorite genre. Okay, yeah, I haven't
watched The Island in a hot minute.
Oh,
sorry, it's my dog Havoc. He was trying to get into my lap, and he
wants to be on the podcast too.
He's 65 pounds. I'm like, I'm on a rolly chair, dude. I'm going down. Like, if that happens, so
we're just gonna see you out of screen.
I think Michael Bay gets a bad rap. I think he's a better filmmaker than people give him credit for. Mm-hmm. It's just, I hear he's also a worse person than people realize. So, two opposing truths can be possible at once.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like Machiavelli, to rather to be feared or loved, and if you can pull off both, then you're doing all right. And he's pretty successful,
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of racist and has some weird things he does on film sets. So.
I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's not cool. Not a fan of that. Racism is not cool.
Not cool. Big thumbs down on that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the reason I'm not following the Joe Rogan podcast anymore since those scene clips came out, and I was like, ugh.
Oh snap! I've been keeping up with the drama, the juice. I
was like, my guard was put up with all the anti-vax stuff. Not to get political on this podcast. All the anti-vax stuff, and then a bunch of clips came up of him using the N-word, and I was like, that's a line to cross for me. So. We're done. Yeah.
I fell off him a couple years ago, which just because I always liked him interviewing athletes because I'm a huge lifting nut, and like you get some actors or anybody on there, but like I was really over very quickly that he'd have people on that he just wouldn't. Like, I get that you're a conversational podcast of like 3, like you're not, this isn't Frost Nixon. Like he's not like doing the background researching and a whole people, but like when you're in a conversation with somebody, hold them hold them to their word, which like anybody came in with like MMA shit and like started slinging some bullshit, he was always like, nah, dude, that's not how you kick or whatever. Like it's always cool about that. But it's like when you don't question people who are very intentionally grifters, i.e. Candace Owen and those fucking people, you just give them a platform. And I do believe in the right to free speech, but the problem is when you are a platform that doesn't question people and doesn't question like the specific, like what is the intent behind this word or the way that people are saying this, you kind of become that platform. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go scream on the corner about some microchips that got implanted in me by the Army.
You too? No, just kidding.
I never joined, and I feel like my ass hurts on the left side. I don't know.
Just got that shot of peanut butter. It's just like, why do you have a caulk gun? It's like, oh, this is your next 10 years of vaccines, man. You're good.
Yeah, we're
going the efficiency.
And like squeeze the extra out. You're like, do we need that? No, it's within the budget.
It's the extra.
Yeah.
There's a bubble in there. That's actively bubbling. What is that you're putting in? That's battery acid.
Or battery acid. Good news, everybody. Putting on the gloves. You're like, what? I just lost all my hair. Okay. Jeez.
The Army would do that if they could save money on barbers. They're like, we found a way to reliably give soldiers alopecia.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, cancer, but we won't tell anybody that.
Right. Because they're only signed up for an 8-year contract. Just kidding.
Someone in the Pentagon somewhere just got a boner for inexplicable reasons. Carey uttered those words.
This meeting just got awkward. I think we're going to have to put off talking about the slush fund for a while.
Yep. I'm going to call my wife Linda. She hasn't seen this in 3 years. It's just like, okay.
This is a real awkward. It's even more awkward because Lindsey Graham's here.
Oh no!
I'm so sorry. Lindsey, just say you're gay, man. We're all cool with it. Just like
it's cool.
Like we don't like you for a lot of other reasons.
Just slap the ass and don't say good game, man. It's fine. It's fine.
So Nick, tell us about your paintings you've been doing. They're looking really good online, man.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. So I've been taking art really seriously for the last 2 years, or not, scratch that, refers to the last 2 months. And so recently I committed to myself that I was going to do a painting a night. And that's awesome. Yeah, so some nights I've gotten 2 out, or I'll get 1 done and some work done on the other one, but I feel like a wild man, you know what I mean? Like,
it's awesome.
Like hunting for the perfect painting, which is for sure like a pursuit of insanity. You know, there's no perfect beauty in the world. You know, we just catch glimpses, I think, in the moment, in the present.
Well
and
said.
I don't think, you know, you can really, it's like, how do you do that in something that takes hour, 2 hours, you know? It's like, you can, I don't know. So it's very fun what I'm doing, and I'd love to do something for you, Josh. You know, I already got.
Oh, thank you. I'd be honored.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's great for me. It's practice. And then like, there's something. It sounds weird, right? It sounds very artsy, okay? But like, there's something to like trusting. People say like the universe, or like your gut, or like things like that. So what I've been doing is I've been getting 3 colors from people, and that's it. And then I work with 3s in all of my art, because it's a powerful number in the universe, right? And so
triangle is a very powerful structurally, you know,
right.
weight-bearing object.
And not even just triangles, but the concept of 3, the concept that water has 3. You know, there's just so many different things that really connect with all of us on that level. And so
the rule of 3s when it comes to writing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And the rule of 4 for comedy, for the push and the pull. So, which is also important too. So like, technically I'm painting with 4 colors because it'll be a black backdrop or a white backdrop as well. But I'm just loving it. I would love to, I mean, I can share some of, I guess, what I have. So what I'll do too is like, I'll be working on a piece. So this piece I messed up last night, which made me sad.
With art, can you really ever mess it up, or is it just a
happy little accident? Yeah, I'm trying to live in that dream. I'm trying to live in that space. So I recently,
whoa, I love that.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, and
That's
so
fantastic.
Oh, very cool.
yeah, so you can kind of see the abstract mountain underneath the tulip. And what happened is the tulip started to go wrong. So then I did a mirror of the tulip above it. And then what I'm going to do, because it's still bulging in the middle in the way I don't like, is I'm going to put another stem, so a mirror stem. So then we still have the rules 3 in action.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So then I took those colors because I had too much. And then I worked with that to go with this abstract. So these ones I put, like, I'll pump out in like 10, 15 minutes. So like if I'm going to definitely make a site, I got to make an Instagram.
Good.
There's so much I got to do. But I do eventually want to sell my art. So then this is something that I made, and yeah, so you can't quite see the color variation, the difference until you get close to the camera on that.
Yeah, I like the green. I like the green in there. It adds like a ruggedness to it, you know?
Yeah, it's meant to be kind of like a snapshot of the Garden of the Gods with a little bit of that Colorado blue.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of the trees and then those clouds that we always get that are nice and pink. So yeah, so it's just like kind of, you know, so it's there. It's just you got to hunt for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
So abstract is my medium right now. Abstract is my focus right now. So
Nick, you got to meet our buddy Will, who's an artist on here. He's he was having some tech issues, but he made it. So
Will he is.
Yeah.
Will he is.
Will he is. I love it.
Yes. Hello, friends.
Hi,
Sorry,
Will.
I don't know what happened. All of my computer programs just decided they didn't want to load or something.
Oh no. It's like the time we were playing D&D and you tried to roll the dice and it was like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I need to update my whole workstation there.
Nick, besides being an awesome blooming painter, I love your work. Have you played Dungeons and Dragons? Sorry, that was directed towards Nick. Did I say Will?
No,
I said
no,
Nick.
you said me. You said me.
Okay.
Yeah. And hi, Will. Welcome. Good to meet you, sir. Love your long hair. Super jelly. I'm starting to thin, which is fantastic. You can't tell, but it's coming.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I blame my mother's grandfather. So genetics. So I love D&D. I got started on it through a friend group through T-Mobile, which is of course where we connected on a deeper level. Not the first place we met. We met at a Game of Thrones hangout night, night, if you remember correctly.
That's right.
Yeah, at my brother's, because you knew my bro Haas, one of my bro Haas.
Yeah, we had mutual friends at University of Colorado Springs, UCCS.
Yep, for sure. And then hookah as well.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, hooked on hookah. So a good shout out, good plug, shameless plug. Love Ronnie and Shitty.
Which episode were you guys watching?
Oh man,
the White Walkers were in it. No, it was the one where spoiler alert, where Oberyn Martell gets killed by the mountain.
Yeah.
It was that episode.
It was that episode.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, so
that's how you
paving the way for us
mountain.
to have paving the way for us to have the Mandalorian and Agent Whiskey and Kingsman 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a good episode to start, because then if you get to instantly know who read the books, because they're all staring at everybody else's faces instead of watching the screen.
Yep. It's like, I know what happens to the rest of you fuckers.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to have somebody put me onto those books in late high school for me. So yeah, which was when he hadn't even written The Feast of Crows, and you're like, he does take 17 years to write everything. So, any of the original readers were not surprised it's taking him so long to write stuff. But he's still a master at his craft, you know, kind of taking an outline from history and then working with it to build characters, you know, and I really love the single character way that he does each chapter. It's something that I really appreciate. It's very fun.
I did that for my second book, where each chapter is from a different character's point of view. And it was fun. It was fun to write in, because I got to do a shameless plug for the Expanse novels. The two writers of the Expanse novels met working for George R.R. Martin. So those books are all written from character point of views as well.
No way.
Yeah. And the show's really good too.
The show is fantastic. Yeah. I haven't read the books yet.
Books are good.
Yeah. I got hooked on the show like season 4. I started watching it because I just hadn't gotten around to it, because, you know, there's 1,000,001 shows on TV.
Yes, sir.
And whoa. I was so glad I waited for 4 seasons. And then it was like, oh my God, how long does it take for 5 seasons? You know? So, which, you know, can I spoiler alert? It's a newer show. I don't want to
give everyone a minute to be like, turn this off if you don't want to expand spoilers. But the show is ended now, so please spoil.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 3 minutes and come back. We don't want to miss you. So spoiler alert: Alex dying isn't in the books. And
but you heard why, right?
Yeah, because he's a bad fella. In real life. Yeah. He's not a good dude. Yeah. And so good for them for standing up for the other cast members and obviously trying to hold a positive and appropriate moral brand. So shouts out to them. And he was a hard character to lose. Clearly a good actor, really shitty human. So
I was thinking about
more common than you think in Hollywood.
I bet.
I like how like screen medium or like different mediums. I like how some of them can like actually take a story and not make a totally faithful adaptation. Now, like I personally, I was thinking about this in terms of Guillermo del Toro because like I'm not sure if I've fucking talked your guys' ears off enough about it yet on the podcast. But Nightmare Alley is a fucking fantastic movie.
Is that the new one with Bradley Cooper?
That is the new one with Bradley Cooper.
I need to see that. I love Guillermo del Toro.
It's a fantastic movie. It's like the book itself was like tailor-made for a del Toro flick. The book itself is actually kind of fascinating because it was written in 1946, but I didn't know that when I read it. But it's so like it's actually written in 1940s like vernacular. Like it's very much with the like dame and like I want the dough. Like it's so vernacularized that I felt like this is a book from like the 70s or 80s. Like this is completely fucking overblown. But it was one of those like few books that's actually kind of revolutionary for the time because the dude just wrote like how people talked. And there's a lot more that's like why this is kind of revolutionary and like there's a lot that was kind of like about the grifts that this guy would do in the book that wasn't in the movie at all. But the thing about Guillermo del Toro is he's got a great way of taking the spirit of a story and who the characters are and making a different story out of it. Like it was what was so good about the Hellboy movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was like Nightmare Alley did a great job of it. And I really like that there are some creators in any medium who are like, yeah, that's what the source material says. But what we're going to do is we're going to make something that's in the gesture of this original concept. And we're going to make something new, which, that's why I love the way things are like when things are really well adapted between different medium. It's super cool.
Well, that's like to plug my favorite movie, Annihilation. Nick, have you seen Annihilation with Natalie Portman?
If it's got Natalie Portman, I need to. Give me a second here. Annihilation, the secret Hollywood crush.
She's brilliant. But with Alex Garland, who he did a similar thing when he did the because he's actually the uncredited director of the Dread movie with Carl Urban.
I actually really like that movie, even though it didn't get as much of as a support. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Me too. But Alex Garland, he also did Ex Machina. He wrote and directed that. He wrote and directed Annihilation, and with Annihilation,
I can see it now. I can see how he did Dread. I love that movie so much.
But I love Annihilation. I've seen it a ton of times. It's my favorite movie, and so I went and read the book last year. And I really like how he adapted the book where, like you were saying, he got the spirit of it, but the book is so psychological that with the movie, he made it more visual, but the same style of horror and intrigue. And it just, and what he did was he had read the book in college and loved it. And so when he decided to adapt it, he said, I'm going to go with like my remembering of the book. I'm not going to read it again. He said, I'm just going to go with what I remember and have it be like a dream recreation. And it worked so well.
That is a fascinating way of doing things. I have a much dumber example from my life about like how that's happened, which is my next door neighbor. When I was like 9,
this is not going where I thought it was, but continue.
This is like when I was like, I want to say I was like 10 or 11, because like this was like right on the verge of middle school. My next door neighbor, Connor Farrell, shout out to a dude who is in like Grand Rapids, Michigan right now.
Oh, my mom's from Grand Rapids. That's wild. Okay.
No shit. He lives up there with his wife. He's awesome. They got a baby on the way. He was always the funniest motherfucker I knew. Like, and he was a comedian for a while. He was like a really talented writer. He's like intensely creative individual. But when I first met him, and I was in 5th grade and he was in 6th grade, and he moved in next door, he would tell me about movies that my parents wouldn't let me watch. And I never learned how bad he was at until much later, how bad he was at describing a movie to me. Like the way he described the Matrix to me in 5th grade was much more akin to the movie Brazil than the Matrix. Because he started out, I was like, what's the Matrix? And he goes, in the real world, people aren't born, they're grown, which is technically a line from the movie, but he made it seem like the agents and like were the pod people, and that they were sending pod people after the real human beings. And so I have all these like memories of movies that were very poorly described to me in very much that Be Kind, Rewind kind of like way. that like I kind of want to sit down and like just write them out, be like, this is what I thought this movie was for 10 years until I actually saw it, and just kind of go from there.
That could be a fun podcast we could do in the future, is purely describe a movie that someone hasn't seen.
No.
Yeah, the VHS on the shelf with Carey's idea of what it is versus the
actual movie.
And then we watch it and see Carey's reaction. He'd be like, did that ever catch you off guard at a party? You'd be like, yeah. And then the pod people started fighting Neo. Like, did you ever get caught up like without realizing it because he told you so many movies? Or did you like catch it early on enough to save yourself from these kind of experiences?
I didn't think about it until much later, but I'd always just be like, oh, I haven't seen this movie before. And I'd sit down and watch it. I'm sorry, I'm taking over this podcast. But like one of the reasons I became such a big film nerd was because in college, when I got to be a resident advisor, or even before that, my freshman year, we had like the little movie library down that you could check out. Like nobody ever used it at Darley. I was the only motherfucker down there checking out movies, so I just watched every Tarantino film and every fucking old Western I could get my hands on. And like, I just go down the list because like, well, fuck, I don't have anything to do tonight. I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie. And I found I found some of my favorite stuff right then because I was in an environment where I didn't have my little siblings to worry about, so I could just watch some like really hard R stuff. Like I didn't have like, I could get recommendations from my dad because he could finally tell me, he's like, you need to watch this violent flick. And like, that was one of those like discovering, like I think that's why for me personally, movies are like a sense memory kind of thing, where it's just like, I can kind of watch this thing and I can remember like the where and when I was, which I was talking to a friend about that with like books and paintings and the like, where we're like, this is something that is just this impression of what my memory is of something that like it came out of somebody else's head. That's what's fucking cool about art to me.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but like, I think that's something that I love about the piece that I'm doing right now, and is not only the rule of 3 that we were talking about, of course, and the rule of 4 is the push and the pull, but then I'm taking what my gut tells me about that person's gut. A soul to soul reflection is the intention. And so, when you look at, once I get my gram up, of course, I'm like, this is all 2 months recently. I've just been awesome, mad about it. Like a
I love the dedication too. I love to like every day I'm going to work on it a little bit. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I want to become good enough that people want to pay good money for it.
Hell yeah.
And shameless plug about where I work. I work at a vocational school for special needs adults.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
It's phenomenal. It's the best work you can do in your life.
Do you like it better than being at the T-Mobile call center?
I found my calling. And I think that's
awesome,
what's
man.
like really giving me the passion every day to get after these other hobbies now. But 25% of everything I sell from here until the day I die is going to go to special needs vocational schools.
Dude, hell yeah. That's awesome.
It's saving people from homelessness. I've learned some of the saddest facts about humanity working in this line of work, because you find out all these numbers and these statistics, and I'm not going to share them because they're really sad. Maybe when we have like a Everybody Wears Black podcast and we talk about all the sad things in the world that we wish we could fix, sure, we can definitely do that. You know,
that's a good theme of a podcast.
It's not bad.
I'll put on pants for that one. I'll put on pants.
You're on the one day that I'm not wearing black. So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. And I am wearing black, so here I go. You know, but
we're gonna put on some Morrissey in the background and fucking get after it.
Sail away, sail away. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna need some Enya to recover.
But so it's just great to have that passion, and when you can feel like you're tapping into something, then it really is something that makes it special. And that's what writer's block is when you can't tap into the muses, you can't tap into that inspiration. And so luckily I haven't hit that yet, but it happens, and it's the ebb and flow. You know, there's never not a push and pull in the way that we experience the universe and work with the universe, whether it's writing, appreciating those movies, and those memories, right? Because they're akin, right? They're connected. And then even like smell, they talk about how like smells are always associated with those memories. So a lot of times you may like see something and then remember a smell. Like recently, and I know it's goofy, but I was on Disney and I'd like seen everything, and I'd watched the whole Marvel universe more than once. And so I was just like, it's just like you start to run out of things sometimes to watch. And so I saw The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and I know it's a kid's movie, you know, but I watched.
We all grew up on that, or at least
I did. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and so I watched it, and I caught all the adult humor that I would be laughing with my mom about, didn't realize was like clever wordplay and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But then also, like, it really brought me sincere, innocent joy.
Yeah.
Which I think as we grow older, we lose a sight of that, like almost wonderment and joy. And so that's another beautiful thing about movies and art and books, that we can even go back and read a Goosebumps. You know what I mean? From when you were in middle school or even, you know, fifth grade or whatever. And you're like, whoa. And it like brings all this stuff back, you know? So I think that's always the beauty of art, you know, is it takes us to a place, or it gives us the opportunity to create a space. So
it's like anchor points in our life based on when we connected with that piece of art, you know?
Oh yeah. Or that piece of art is an anchor point to somewhere in our life that we forgot about. It invokes those emotions and brings back that memory and brings back something for good or for bad. Sometimes like, no, shove it back down. You know?
No, actually, I had an interesting experience just like that. Like not too long ago, I found an old sketchbook from a couple of years ago. And I was flipping through it, and I found a picture I had done in colored pencil on some tan paper. And I was like, oh man, I remember exactly like where I was, just sitting in the cafe over in Auraria campus, just sketching this little creature, because I had just found out what I forgot what the thing is called.
Gremlin?
It looks like a chinchilla.
Yeah,
Let's see
I love how we're all guessing. Yeah, we don't even know the picture.
I saw the picture. I just remember it looks like a fucking chinchilla. It's like
I want to say bunyip, but I'm pretty sure bunyip is a different thing. It is whatever. Numbat. That's the thing.
Numbat.
Bunyip is I think bunyip is the cryptid.
I guarantee you now everyone listening to this is like Googling, what is a numbat?
No, I'm that guy, hands up. If you wouldn't mind, for the layman in the room.
Both are from Australia, so I presume both can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of poisonous stuff over there.
Fair.
What does it look? What does it look like? Is it like how would you describe it? Or if you've got the sketch, let's see your sketch, bro. Let's see your work. Heck yeah.
I happen to have it sitting on my desk right now.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic. And you should show us your current work so we can see that progression.
Whoa.
It's a numbat.
Can you talk and I'll shut up so I can see it? Sorry, my bad. There we go. I can click on it. There we go. Oh, wow. Look at you go, bro. That's awesome. Look at those hairs.
And
that's what I'm talking about.
I wrote down a date on this. So this was August 2015. So
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I have so much room to grow, man. Every time I see you artists, I'm like, one day. I just like it's so incredible. So
and that's
bravo
good to always
for your
be
work,
stuff
Will.
that you're like, I like that about that. I like that about that. That's how you grow as an artist. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man.
Observation and mimicry.
That's just part of the process of evolving. Of like, I was pleasantly surprised by how good some of those still look. Because like it's been 7 years, and sometimes you just open up an old sketchbook and you're like, my God, I was so bad. And other times you're like, why am I not this good anymore?
What did I have right then?
That's that passion, man. That's that passion for that piece, something that strikes you, stirs you. You know what I mean? And I think that there's that. And then I think the other side of it is sometimes genius, the muses strike. They guide the hand. It has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would love to see your current work. What are you working on right now?
What am I working on right now?
What are you working on?
I have a couple of different things that
I really want to go grab. He did the cover of my latest book, and it's over there, but I'm not wearing pants right now, so I'm not going to get up and get it while we're on the podcast.
Just get up and like stay low. I do it all the time, just like Pink Panther your way.
It's really hot here today.
Oh yeah.
No, I get it. I almost was like pants optional. Wait, I might need to get something. So yeah, I get it.
Let's see. It's on my phone. So
there we go.
Yep,
pull back just a little bit, Will.
Yeah.
Pull back just a little bit.
Yep.
Almost a little more.
I don't know. I have to cover my camera to see this, so I can't.
Oh wow, are you doing gold work? Are you doing jewelries, or is that painting?
That's the illustration I did for Josh's.
That's phenomenal.
Josh's novel.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
It's so beautiful, Will. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
No.
Yeah, so that's the skull piece, right?
Yeah.
On the wood. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember seeing that on Facebook. I definitely huge fan of that.
That is Will's awesome work.
Dude, nice work. Congratulations. It's awesome to be not only, obviously you've probably done shows, and I mean you've been able to get your pieces up there locally as well.
I don't actually do any art shows, or I don't do any gallery work. Everything I do is digital primarily. Like I sketch in sketchbooks. I have a few different ones. I don't think anything recent at my disposal right now, because I usually keep my sketchbooks in the car. Just because normally if I'm going to sketch in a sketchbook, I go to a coffee shop and just sit and hang out for a while, because it just, I don't know, it feels weird sitting on the couch with the sketchbook when I have like 4 computers around me that I could be using.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's a huge thing right now in the art world, and has been for a while, is, iPads, art studio is the best in the business, you know what I mean? Or one of the best in the business. And you can pop in out of layers, and like, it's nice to be able to come back in where paint doesn't allow that, where pastels don't allow those soft, like purely soft colors that you can get,
Oh, absolutely. Going digital, it's a huge undertaking, kind of, just to learn the process, because you don't just have to learn a specific set of tools. You can learn like everything. There's so much at your disposal, and most of which you will never ever use. So it's once you actually get into it, though, just like the capabilities there are just endless.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and really the tool behind it are what is really like fascinating me, because I'm learning how to do digital art again with Will as like my sounding board. Like anytime I need advice or something doesn't look right,
so he's your Gandalf.
He's kind of my Gandalf. I'd say he's much more my Strider as far as this goes. I'd say my Gandalf is.
I was going to call myself your Radagast, so that's.
I was just about to say that. I love Radagast. Fantastic! What a great! I'm so glad they added him in the new movies. One of the high points.
Yeah. Oh man, I also like I have a friggin'. I was fucking thinking about like people that just bring it when they don't really need to, and like one of them is like, Surian McKellen. Like, let's talk about, you cast this fucking dude who was famous as a Shakespearean actor back in the fucking 70s as Gandalf. And let's also talk about the fact that he and Patrick Stewart, two powerhouses of like acting ability, are Professor X and Magneto.
Yes.
And just like if I need to smile in a very dark way, I will look up Magneto escaping from X2.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
because
those
it's
two
that
were so good in those movies that it was years before anybody realized how terrible those movies were.
Yes, like they dragged those movies, like, because those movies were that very weird transition of like, it's 2000 and we still kind of don't like, we're trying to do the self-aware superhero thing, but like no superhero knows about other superheroes. But then here's Patrick Stewart and Shireen McKellen, who have just the gravitas, like in the very real. And the third person, because I was ranting at Josh about this. Let's talk about Brian Cox in X2 as William Stryker. And like, you had this play of like, you have Ian McKellen as Magneto. Like, there's something different about you, Mr. Lorio. Like, he stands up and just like, you're like, that dude's fucked. That dude's fucked sideways. So is everybody else in the bottom of the Pentagon right now, because Magneto just got out. And then here's Brian Cox, who doesn't have any fucking mutant powers, but he is the single scariest dude, the single scariest villain in that whole series. And it's all because you just like, we hired talent. Like, nobody knows that Bryan Singer's bad at making movies.
And also a terrible human being in real life.
Oh no! Why is this so common?
Director is so on point. Sorry. Like X2 is another one of those sense memories. Like, I went there. I went to that movie in like 2003 wearing my X-Men shirt that my uncle had given me that was from 1992, and just like, yeah. So there you go.
No, I love that movie and I love that series, and it is funny because you even like seeing Colossus, right, for such a short time, like such a bad plug. They're just like, we got him, and they like spend all their whole budget on like one scene where he hits a wall, and so like, and so it's like
we got enough to have him transform once,
right,
and then we're gonna switch actors for the next movie and make sure he never speaks.
Yes, right, exactly, right. And all of a sudden he gets his Russian accent back, and so it was rough. But you're right, they were such tight into their industry, and then of course Wolverine, the father of X-Men, you can't go wrong with him. He's great in everything that he does.
Yeah, and Hugh Jackman's phenomenal.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, even though he's a little short, he wears boots, so he's got it covered. And
I hear he's really nice in real life, so that's good.
I've heard those things as well. I've heard that he's a pretty stellar feller.
It's ironic that you say he's a little short, because the controversy of casting him as Wolverine is that he was a lot of tall.
Was he? Really?
He's
Wolverine in the comics is supposed to be
I thought he was shorter than
5 foot.
Yeah, I thought he was like 5'6". I thought it was the other way around.
Tom Cruise is 5'6".
Oh yeah, well that
Tom
guy
Cruise
has a complex for sure. He's very Napoleonic.
Wolverine's supposed to be like this little freaking ball of muscle. Like, they were actually
really
when they were talking about the movies in the 90s, they were going to cast the guy who's the lead singer of the Misfits, Glenn Danzig, because Glenn Danzig is like 5'2" and jacked, and like young Glenn Danzig looks like Wolverine. Like, it's little, like it's pretty uncanny. Cool. But but Hugh Jackman's like apparently 6'2" and
I didn't realize. I got it mixed up. I must have heard the story different. And now it's like one of those things where a friend of mine told me this, and now I'm moving it forward and looking dumb.
Totally. Well, they
have any
do
familiarity with that, Carey?
I thought Sean Astin was like 3 feet
If you're thinking
tall.
of like short, angry Canadians, like there's Kiefer Sutherland. He's a short, angry Canadian.
True. It's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like if you go back and watch the animated X-Men cartoon from like the early 90s, like everybody forgot that Wolverine was this short, ugly, hairy guy with a bad mouth that was really abrasive. And then they hired Hugh Jackman, who's like sexiest man in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? Can we shed a tear for Gambit real quick? from the 90s.
That should have been awesome.
Yeah, he should have been great because the 90s Gambit. Oh, Mon Ami, it's so good. So good. This saucy Cajun Frenchman. And then what happened? But
they got that one guy who's super nice but can't act. The guy who played Carter.
Taylor Kitsch,
Taylor Kitsch,
super nice guy. Just not
my favorite X-Men for the longest time because he walks in the room with his little Louisiana Cajun accent and hits on Rogue with his pink shirt.
Gambit had it made. Like he was the the rogues gallery that everyone wanted to be in freaking X-Men. Like he was cool as hell.
Yeah.
And for a while they were doing a Channing Tatum led movie for Gambit, but it fell through. Never got made, but that got close to getting made. They got close to getting made.
I don't think I could stand hearing Channing Tatum try to do a Louisiana accent.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I got canned. I don't know.
He's another guy. Funny guy, but I hear he's super nice, but his acting is
right place, right time. That's a lot of Hollywood from what I've heard.
Right place, right time.
I gotta watch. I'm gonna get opportunities to work with like all these people in the next like 2 years. Just watch, and they're gonna be like, "Don't watch my podcast."
No.
Here's Josh Lindquist helming the Tom Cruise potato vehicle.
Right.
Work with these three guys.
Right, with Michael Bay, and then you're gonna have to make it work.
I don't want to work with Michael Bay.
Oh no, I'm
good.
No. I get it. Depends on the paycheck, I think sometimes. Stress to money ratio.
For enough money, I'm sure that you'd work with just about anyone.
Probably.
True.
Probably. It's hard not to say.
I'm not even going to pretend I have standards. I do freelance work. I have no standards. I will draw whatever you want me to.
It's for a commission. It's for a commission.
It's for a commission, right? These are not your ideas.
I had a fun talk.
Art, Twitter, or Instagram, DM me. I have no standards. I will do anything.
It's Will money. Shaw Art.
Did you say brony? I'm just kidding.
Again, we're not here to yuck anybody's yum.
No.
As long as all parties depicted and here are consenting adults.
Oh yes, of course, for sure. My land. No kink shames. No kink shames. I'm not that guy.
I'm not sure about you guys, but I didn't have a single sexual thought until I was at least the age of 18.
Oh.
Yes. Definitely.
I judged everything objectively and entirely by the merits of only aesthetics, and absolutely nothing about my genitals factored into it at all.
No, never. No. I actually just placed a Bible strictly on my lap every time I watched any television.
Yeah, it wasn't like a divining rod that led me to all the covers of the proper video games to check out at GameStop or anything.
No, not at all.
That's not an effective marketing technique at all.
Maxim magazine, I'm like, these are terrible articles, but you know what? That's really good shot composition.
They do have some fantastic artists that have just a wonderful eye for those scene compositions. Not that I would know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, how would you know, Will? I mean, come on.
I'm not a practiced observer, but I feel like when I've seen what I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lanta. The internet owns this.
Of course.
Nobody's running for office anytime soon, so I think we'll be all right.
We're good. We're clear.
Oh, man. I already failed the sociopath test, though.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah. Or the master manipulator, test, not my juice, not by any means. The glove doesn't fit.
There you go.
It is, as a somebody who does a lot of figure drawing, you do get desensitized to a lot of material though, and then like somebody you go to hand somebody a phone or show somebody something on a computer, and then your brain has to be like, they're gonna think horrible things about me, and they're not entirely wrong.
I think it was on episode 39. I had this writer on, and he was like, as a fellow writer, how many watch lists are you on based on your search history for research for books? And I'm like, good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How long does it take you to die if X happens? Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
Someone somewhere is like, is this guy a writer or a crazy person?
I mean, I've done some very strange searches, like how would one manufacture a gun from scrap metal?
Ooh.
Oh,
Will's on a watch list.
Yeah, for
Will's
sure.
on a watch
Will is on. Now I'm on your watch list. Thanks for saying that around me. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably on a few watch lists myself.
Okay, let's all be honest. The NSA already knew.
Oh,
yeah, they already know. Every kid who downloaded the Anarchist Cookbook is like, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh man, I actually, a friend of mine, oddly enough, found a CD on his. This was way back in the day. Found a CD with the Anarchist Cookbook and the Zeitgeist documentary.
Oh my God.
And he found it underneath his windshield wiper, and we worked at Waffle House of all places. So like, this is who needs this angry underpaid cook. You know, they were just shoving that down there, trying to get the Waffle House employees to go start mixing chemicals. Wild.
That story was like all
brilliant.
Turns.
Brilliant.
God, that came all the way back around in the best way.
Yeah, just.
Gee, who picks that? Who just like what was that, like actually Woody Harrelson? Is he just like this is where the revolution starts, outside of the Waffle House?
He's just over there in like a white van. There's like a little bit of smoke coming from his computer as he's caught, like putting out CDs, just burning CDs, you know, just in the back, also getting a little toke on, you know,
awful batter of blood running down the side.
Yeah. He's like, where's Owen Wilson? Where is he? Wow.
Yeah.
Were we burning your documentary? I was doing the Darjeeling Limited over here.
Yeah.
Oh, delightful.
Oh, you just never know. You just never know what you're gonna run into, you know.
It is interesting though, because that definitely dates that story that it was a CD with the Anarchist Cookbook, because like a decade before it would have been a floppy with the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, right. 8 megabytes, you know.
A decade later, you get it like a flash drive.
So bad.
Somebody left this box of laser discs on my hood.
It's like a manila folder so you can get it all.
What's this? Oh, that's microfiche. What?
Yeah. Oh no. He's like, it also comes with an inspirational 8-track.
Yeah.
To listen to while you plug it in.
It's an early meditation CD, and it's an angle of the Zapruder film you've never seen. Like, well, I wasn't expecting to do this today.
Yeah, like a 1985 Playboy in there too as like a bonus. It's just with the awful fish. You're like, whoa,
where did this come? Okay. What does this have to do with any of this?
Why am I strangely turned on? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Ooh, look at the shag carpeting.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, it's a close-up shot. Oh no!
Oh no! This is before the '90s. Shorter carpet revolution. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the best podcast episode we've done so far.
No.
I think we can all agree this is like the highlight. This is the plateau we will aspire to reach in future podcasts.
Just full bullshitting. I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
For sure.
I love it.
It's fantastic. It's wild.
This was fun.
Man, my Lanta. It's a good time.
It's a great time.
So you guys do this, you mentioned forever ago, like 40 minutes ago, you asked me if I played D&D.
Yes.
So yes, I do. I love it. I started playing D&D 4 years ago. Oh yeah, where's my dice set? Oh, it's hiding. It's been a while actually. I gotta listen to stuff. So I love it. We had the first time I ever played, I played with a group of 6 people. 5 of us were playing, and then the DM was running, but he also ran like an important NPC. that we all kind of got to know and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And so he ended up running with 2, spoiler, of course, because somebody died. But we played the first campaign for a year and 3 months.
Nice.
And so we played from level 1 to level 20 or divine.
Awesome.
We had divine encounters and stuff like that, which was killer. And we played 3.5 because they had 35 books. He's been playing, the DM that was running it has been playing since he was 14.
Wow.
They're all, again, he's 30 as well, or in his 30s as well. And so I mean, he wasn't when we started, but now he is. And so he's phenomenal. And so we did that. And so he's writing a book about our character, a series of books about that campaign.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's got the first book basically almost done.
That's legit.
And so it was really cool. My character was a halfling rogue, right?
Ooh.
You know, very typical.
Carey knows
rogues.
something about halfling rogues.
Oh, nice.
Halfling rogue fighter combo. Very
shout
recently.
out to my hobbits out there. Shout out to my hobbits out there. Potatoes.
It's just great to role play being short.
Oh, right. Oh, for sure. And so like I actually early on I died because I got swallowed by a T-Rex.
Oh no.
Yeah. But so he was really nice because my gamer name is Salty Raccoon.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. And so hence, Raccoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So, but sorry, I feel like I'm commandeering. I'm not trying to.
You're the guest, man. Commandeer all you
want.
Commandeer. Thanks. Thank you. And so, but he ended up. So of course we stumble upon, your DM's kindness level, depending on your DM's kindness level. We stumbled upon a scroll of reincarnation, right?
Nice.
So he had me roll. I rolled 100. And so he was like, you can pick any one of these races in the book, or you can let the DM decide. And so I was like, okay, I trust you because you're like bringing me back to life in my first character that I was like devastated that I died. Yeah. And so he brought me back as an anthropomorphic raccoon that was still the same size as a halfling and like got an increase to my dexterity and my and I got scent. As nice. Like an additional abilities that I got going through that because I rolled 100,
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and so it was really fun. He ended up being a master thrower, and I could throw like 8 knives by the end of it. And like he was a very fun character that went through like actual arcs because I was letting my character kind of experience what I was experiencing in life and having that as an outlet, which a lot of shout out to those tabletop gamers that use tabletop for therapy. Let's go.
Yeah.
The old, we're still tribal people. We just forget about it because we put ourselves in boxes and forgot to look out the window. And so it's like when we can get around a table again, throw some dice, create something together, we remember what it was like to be around the fire. And so I love that. Thank you. I just feel it in my soul. I just got chills because I totally feel that in my soul, dude. Like,
that's the great thing about being around a table, man. I love doing this digitally. It's fun as hell, but like being at a table with all your friends and playing D&D is a next level shared experience.
It's phenomenal for sure. And if you guys, I don't know, so are you guys, so on that note, so I've talked enough about me. Are you guys doing a current campaign? We're doing a podcast for that campaign. What does that look like for you guys?
We have several campaigns going.
Right
no! Yeah, we actually just wrapped up one.
We just finished one that we started. We started back in like early 2020.
It was actually the end of 2020 because like
you're right, yeah.
Because I remember making that halfling character Mirabella and it was it had to be like October because then for like a month I was out in LA and we hung out plenty and we were just freaking jamming back and forth over Discord because it was a play-by-post.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so. Yeah,
no, it's good. That's so we have Carey runs a game that I'm a player in, and Will runs a game that I'm a player in, and then we just ended the Tazraelia campaign, so I'm running 7 play-by-post games as a DM. So I DM 7 games, and then Yeah. Keeping it all in my head, it's a bit of a challenge, but
yeah,
Carey runs an awesome game where I play a half elf with daddy issues. And then in Will's game, I play a little Kenku who thinks he's smarter than everyone and isn't. And it's super awesome to play him.
Kenkus are a unique and very fun character.
I love playing Kenkus.
Back to people, and
they're my favorite species. Yeah, they're great.
It's very sarcastic, which is very endearing. And then you can also write down any phrase someone's ever said and use it like, you know, a month later, and they're like, "Oh, damn you," you know, because
mimicry is bringing it back. I love mimicry.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a lot of fun. I love that. We had
so
a friend who did Kenku at one point.
I actually happened to have the file because we were going. We had just wrapped up that campaign, and so I was looking at the Mirabella, which was Carey's character, and Coinel, which is my character. And I had my initial post about those characters was back from November of 2020. So
okay, so it was Carey's
awesome.
Like November, like mid-November.
Wow.
Yeah, because Will goes out and makes like these great party photos, and like he's really great at you know, just hey, this is the vibe I'm getting, or like, you know, just doing input and like putting all these quirks into it. I friggin' adore getting like character art from Will's an honor. It's always really cool for that reason.
Phenomenal. I love that. And I like a DM who knows you or knows your character maybe better than you know it. And so they have a way of kind of pushing your agenda without realizing it. Cause, you know, I think that's something that's hard to do, is to, as a DM, it's like, okay, you give them this path and they're like, oh, look, a tree. And they're just like on a completely different path you never created. And you have to be flexible. It's like the ultimate improv.
Yeah.
And so I love that. It does feel a lot like improv in a group. And it's kind of an art form I think that people don't realize is an art form in a lot of ways, but they should if they're unfamiliar, I think, you know?
Yeah. And it also kind of makes you think of things that you normally never would. Like I was playing in Carey's campaign, and my character got suddenly turned into a girl, and now I have to be like, okay, this is something that I had never really thought about. How would I take this?
He's underselling how fucking hilarious this was, because
was a very funny moment.
Just to give so I was about to agree with you. I love having my plans fucked up. I love it as a DM. I love putting something together and like knowing what a set piece is going to look like, and like having a couple of options. And the great thing about being at a diverse table with a lot of really fucking smart people who like to play really dumb people, they will find a way to fuck it up. And here's the funny thing: like, you guys actually didn't fuck up that puzzle at all. The whole Zen Garden whirlpool thing.
That was awesome.
It was insanely fun. But like, we have a character who's a chaos cleric, and I only gave her 2 spells. Like, she's only got 1 level of chaos cleric. The rest of her, she's a monk. So her spells are both basically wild magic, and I make it. She casts it. She rolls a d100, and it's Bane or Bless. So it's either going to be positive or negative. So positive on the allies, negative. But it doesn't have to be like particularly useful. Yeah. So she rolls, and it comes up the target swaps gender, and I mute the call immediately, and I said, "This is what's going to happen. Who was the target?" And she goes, "Oh, it's Will's drow character. It's Athan." And we are immediately laughing, and we had to basically paused the game for about 10 minutes to laugh about this, and also to roll for the changes, because Pike, our friend, is like, well, what's their cup size? And so I go, well, I'm going to have to roll a D4. And she goes, no, roll a D6. That way it gets all the way to F.
Oh, no.
And it's like, and like, it ended up being an A cup. But we just played with the sliders essentially. We just did the character creation menu for 15 minutes.
Oh, no.
And like, we did just roll for it. And part of it, I was like, we might be taking Will for a ride, but like, Will's over there like, what's the feminine version of this Welsh name? Like,
he's in it to win it. Like, he's already bought it. I love that.
Like, I already, like,
sorry for interrupting.
No,
No.
you're fine. Because this character, like, I based a lot of like his culture on like Welsh mythology. So his name is Welsh, and like a lot of this is his god is based off of Aron, and like all these different things. And now I'm like, okay, great. How do I
roll with this?
Does any of this work psychologically?
Fair. Yeah, no, I get that. And that's kind of, you know, it's nice when you play, like you said, with intelligent people, because intelligent people often look at adversity as an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of, it gives them that option to be elastic with their brain, and not only just taking mm-hmm. on a puzzle, but in a lot of ways, you know, people that play D&D naturally at least have that improv artistic nature about them. So it's also an opportunity to express themselves artistically, right? So it makes sense because you already had this vision, and then the landscape changes. And then now you're like, well, I still want the sky. Okay, I'm no longer a tree, I'm a mountain, but I still want the sky, right? Uh-huh. And so it's good to see how you, like, how do I wrap that in? You know, mm-hmm. And that ties into the thing that's funny that I see a lot of times in, like, you know, there's that old, you know, D&D tabletop, like, oh, we're all nerds and we're all socially awkward and we don't know what to do around girls. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's kind of the trope that you see. But when I sit at the table, more often than not, I see incredibly intelligent, creative people who look at challenges as opportunities, and they put that and translate that in other places in their lives continuously for their success. And even for myself, like, I found that I became a much better problem solver after I started playing D&D mm-hmm. Than before, you know? Yeah. And so I really wish that there was a lot more. I mean, we're seeing it now, right? For sure. Mm-hmm. We're in that era where we're seeing more, like, you know, people are making millions of dollars now, you know.
And it's getting popular in Hollywood amongst writers and performers.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. Yeah. And it's like it really is like a good 4-hour keep your improv skills fresh. Mm-hmm. And so like, for me, it's like, I think it is great to see. And I'm lucky I kind of came in right as it was kind of building steam. You know what I mean? And I had a group that would, you know, because that's the other thing is trust. Yes. A lot of people don't talk about that, is D&D is a trust exercise.
It really
is.
Like,
mm-hmm. and so like, yeah, but like, because you also have to embrace chaos.
Yeah.
You know, and humans, we are order. We are creatures trying to make order out of the chaos.
Yes.
And woefully so. we fail.
We strive so against much. That entropy. Yeah. We're like,
no. We're like inertia. So it's just like, so that's kind of the wild thing about that experience. And I love that this is it's a game, but it really has so many leaves in it that it ends up really, you know, growing into something that, and growing in that person in a way that you couldn't really get that from any other activity.
I agree completely. Very well said.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure. I love it. And so it's great. I love it. So I'll have to, maybe sometime, if we can, I'd love to guest play at some point, you know.
We would love to have you. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. That would be phenomenal. You know, all respect to the DM. Yeah, I know how that is.
You know, I just plugged into one of my play-by-post games. We'll talk after this. I'd love to have you.
Cool. Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that. So I'm still new. You know, I'm old school around the table. So what was it? You said it was play-by-post.
So the games that I run, we do over written communication over Discord.
It's like so it's all typed out. It's old school forum RPG stuff, dude.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember that. Yeah. Like, I remember.
It's great.
Holy cow, that takes me back. That's like the CD on front of the car, man.
Yeah.
That dates me. That
started the revolution. Yeah.
No. I just remember.
Mudroom?
Yes, yeah. I do. Oh my goodness. And even it was more anime focused. It was more like, mm-hmm. but I still remember kind of, at least the groups I was in at the times. But yeah, man, wow. That takes me back. It really does. I love
jet skis. That's the modern Owen Wilson is jet skis.
Jet skis. Oh, I know. Oh, that was
God,
so
Loki
great.
was phenomenal.
Oh, me too. The TVA and I was so there were some things in that were so genius.
Yeah.
And I think artists have been, or writers really, have been trying to write about time, and they're not doing a good job. Like, just really not. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we've got the Groundhog's Day trope being a big thing right now, and it's fun when done well, but you know, it can also kind of wash things out in other ways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know,
no
questions asked. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, I think I love that Minnesotan accent. It's my favorite.
It's so fun.
It's the best.
It's just really hard to take anything seriously in this accent is the problem.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole joke with Fargo.
You betcha.
Great
job. Like, wow, these are some really heavy things we're talking about here with all the murder and the decapitation and stuff. But you know what? It's just funny because we just sound so cute.
Yeah, right? Like little bears with Canadian hats. Yeah. But like half Canadian, half American flag. You're not really sure what's going on.
It's hard to really take the murder seriously when everybody sounds like a Hummel.
We'll put him in the wood chipper, won't ya? Yeah.
Now you stop right there and you think about what you've done.
Yeah.
Gotta make you some eggs, Marge.
I love Fargo.
Oh my goodness, fantastic. Classic. Really. I had a friend of mine that had a Fargo snow globe.
Ooh.
And it had the whole wood chipper scene, and it was half white and half red little swirlies.
Oh man.
That's funny.
Yeah, genius. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. Good stuff.
Make good art, man. That's what Neil Gaiman says. Make good art.
Make good art, man. No questions asked. Yeah, Neil Gaiman, man. That guy's got a piece on some things for sure. He's on it. You know.
Oh yeah. I just read a little book. I'm gonna grab it over here off my shelf. But I picked this up in a little bookstore. It took me about 25 minutes to read, and I wasn't expecting to blow through it as quick. But Art Matters by Neil Gaiman. It's like
very little book.
It's
especially
like
for Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, well, it's like 2 or 3 of his speeches that this dude illustrated, and they're these adorable little. This is a perfect picture, but like that's
you're gonna want to move back.
Yeah, it's gonna wash out like a motherfucker. Like that's the kind of illustration, and it'll just be, and it's like him talking about his life or why art matters. But like he's got this whole the whole speech about art matters is like. He keeps coming back to make good art. And like I laid down to go to sleep and I finished the whole thing, like I said, in 25 minutes. And I was just fucking moved because it was it's such a beautiful sentiment from somebody that really does mean a lot to me as far as like fiction and what the guy like does and has done with like everything that he touches, but like this, it was one of those things where like, all right, cool. Like this is actually a really great representation of why art matters because this is why I would listen to somebody like I don't particularly like self-help gurus or any of that bullshit, but you know who I like? I'll listen to people like Neil Gaiman because Neil Gaiman does something that I aspire to, and he's really fucking good at it. So I'll listen to what he has to say about it. And I love that like these are things that I have an opportunity to read.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean that too. It's a blessing that we are where we are. I hate to admit it, and I know he's not loved in the writing world, but I gotta make a shout out to The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I've heard he's kind of a douche. But
why does that name sound familiar? It sounds like the name of the character that Tom Cruise played in Tropic Thunder.
It almost
is. It is the name of that's why, I mean, the art community, that's how much they love him. He's a writing critic that started and then he said, oh, you guys are doing it wrong, and then stole the best parts of all of like fantasy fiction and put it into The Magicians, which is hilarious to me.
Isn't there a show based on that now?
There is.
I've heard good things about it.
It's one of those shows where the characters all start out and you hate them. And it's kind of an interesting, well, not all of them. You can see pieces of humanity in yourself in different characters. But he does he focuses on the negative part of humanity. And
Mhm.
their arcs are much slower than most characters.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, again, The Magicians, incredible soundtrack, the TV show. It's
Nice.
on Netflix, you know, so it's easy to access. Not trying to plug Netflix. I wish we were paid by Netflix. That'd be
I know, right? Me too.
Yeah.
you know,
Shout out Netflix.
please.
Yeah,
Subscribe to our
Patreon.
You guys could afford it. It's less than your subscription a month. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But no, seriously, phenomenal. It is a good show. I'd give it an A-.
But you're saying the book is good, is what you're saying.
The book is real good. The book
Mhm.
is really good and really well written, and you learn the characters in the show do a fair enough job. They do a good enough job, and it's like a world where magic isn't easy and it's not overly common, and you have to be
That's cool.
wildly smart and wildly lucky. But
Mhm.
like, spoiler alert, it's not a big spoiler, but magic comes from suffering. So they do a really good job of illustrating that as well, you know, because more often than not, you see people that are smart and successful who you don't ever think they truly suffer. So it helped remedy some of my rich hate. It did.
Yeah.
You know, because I was raised ultra poor. And I've had to learn that, you know, like, you know, just to judge a man by the content of his character, right? Not his wallet or whatever plug in there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which is good, but it helped me to kind of shake me up a little bit, because I used to be like, if you're too rich, you're evil, you know, and I had to, you know, I've had to back up from that and learn more about just that part of things than me, you know. But that helped me out, you know, personally.
Can I relate to that on a really interesting level? So
Yeah.
I did say that I don't like self-help books, but I was reading a lot of like mindset books like in the last couple of years, and like I was trying a smattering, like not everything was something that I thought would stick, but I'd find an author, or I'd get a recommendation from a friend that I respected, and I'd say, okay, I'll give this audiobook a read or something. And one of the books that like actually made me go like seesaw up and down on like my own mental state was this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I don't disagree with the thrust of the book at all. It is but like here's the thing. As somebody who has actually, to a small extent, studied Zen Buddhism, it's basically Zen Buddhism as written into a book for self-help format.
Oh.
And by the end of the audiobook, I was just infuriated. I was infuriated by it. It drove me nuts, because this is after I'd been blown up in fucking Afghanistan. And I was just like, you have experienced nothing bad enough in your life to justify this appropriation of Zen Buddhism, like this mentality of yours. And that was me at the time. I was mad about it. But here's the thing, and here's where I came back around to it. That guy has indeed, in some way, shape, or form, I don't know what the fuck his background is, experienced some sort of trauma or loss or issue. One of which he talks about in the book, which was before I started screaming at him about it. That is significant enough to him that he decided that he wanted to actually write something that might change other people's mentality. And I might not agree with it. I might personally not. I might personally think that it's not really that particularly deep. But if that's something that but if he actually did that in like full earnestness, if he didn't just do this to write a book to make money, and if one person is helped by a book like that, that to me is the definition of some good art. And so that's where that was where my seesaw was about that. That's also why, like, as long as I'm fucking taken to write, you know, the things that I'm writing or draw the things that I'm drawing, one of the reasons that I'll get something and I'll get a certain way into it and I'll kind of tear it down and rewrite it. It's because I know the next time I rewrite it's going to be better because I put more thought into it. And my whole thing is like, I really don't care if anything I write sells. what I would like is to have at least one person write it, even if it's just or one person read it, even if it's just a friend. And if something I write speaks to them in a significant way, then I'll be happy with that. And so that's like I feel that very much that same way about, you know, kind of the way you're talking about the magicians there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I agree with that. And I think that's important because true art is based in a desire for change. Mm-hmm. And so like when you look at that, like I can identify, so that brings up something that like 8 years ago, I haven't had the courage to write. So let's just be honest. I'm going to call that out right now. Aside from school assignments and things of that nature, I've only written a very little amount of poetry.
That's awesome.
But well, I love artists. I love writers. I would love to eventually do it. I need to do it. You know, it's discipline, right? Like it's something I really struggle with. But I had an idea and I still want to write this book one day. And if you guys steal it, take it. I don't mind it. The book needs to be written. That's what matters. Because it struck me forever ago. But excuse me real quick. Sorry, don't chain smoke, children. Stay in school. So listen to the band. Don't do the act. So really though, but like the one thing that humans have in common, unfortunately, isn't love. It's struggle. Mm-hmm. And so it's the one unifying thing that we've all experienced. And it's the one thing that you find when you're connecting with a person, you start sharing stories of trauma and struggle. You don't share stories of your favorite birthday right away. That comes later. That's the frosting on the top. But the basis of the cake is struggle. And so there was a time period where I was trying to interview people and get their stories of struggle. And then I wanted to take it and write different chapters about different people that had struggled through different things that, you know, and give me an opportunity eventually to write about my own personal struggles that, you know, I went through with my family and everything like that. And so, but it's going to be called The Heartbeat of Struggle. And the idea is that like all of us are tied through that. And whether we're rich or poor, you know, whether we have one cultural background or one religious background or one political line or another, the thing that we all can identify with, relate to, and hopefully have empathy for is struggle. And so I love that you brought that up, man, because it reminds me of that, because it's been a long time it's been forever since I thought about that book.
Let me know how I can help you make that a reality, dude. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've got goals this year. 2022 can kiss my ass. I'm gonna make it a good year. Seriously, I don't care. Hell yeah. If it's all burning, we got a comet coming. At least let me finish out the year. Like I just, you know, I'm gonna do art. No, I know. Knock on wood. That's a wild thing to talk about. I'll talk about that. Oh my gosh, you know. Anyway, sorry. Don't give me. Squirrel. But like all that to say, like I would love to start writing my first book this year. I've promised myself that I'm gonna do stand up.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm actually doing my art in a real way, which I told myself I'd do. So I'm seeing myself actually put boots on the ground, so to speak, in my life, and I really haven't in a while.
That's awesome that you're doing that, man.
So I'm excited. I'm stoked. You know what I mean?
I'm stoked for you, man. We're going to have you back on to keep getting updates as you're kicking ass this year, man. It's going to be awesome.
I would love it. I love it. Y'all are excellent hosts.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I hope we're not running out the reel or anything. I know we've been chatting for a while.
This is good, man. This has been a fun time. This has been great.
We hear that. It turns out the recording stopped like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Josh's computer ran out of space.
This is a podcast?
Right.
Like, that happened the other day. No way. We had a guest on, and like after we were done recording, it's like, we're done recording, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I had no idea this was a podcast. We were like, okay.
I thought this was a cameo.
He gave a really good interview. His book sounds awesome, but yeah, he was like, I had no idea this was a podcast. I'm like, well, I made a mistake in the booking there, my friend. My bad. Thought that was kind of crystal clear when I booked you, but
he's like, dun, 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 dun. He's like, yeah,
he gave a perfectly good interview.
Got you, bro.
Oh, it was hilarious. I was laughing so hard afterwards. I was like, that's the best thing ever.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Nick, when we put this episode live, we'll put links to all of your Instagram and stuff in the video description so people can view your art.
Oh, that's huge. Thank you so much.
Course.
I know this is goofy. Like I said, it's been 2 months. So after this recording, of course, I'm going to hop on and you guys can see me. The hope is you can see me at Nicholas Art Ramsey. So that's going to be NICHOLAS, capital A, capital R, capital T, Ramsey, RAMSEY. So yeah, I'm also going to have a name changing party this year because technically right now my last name is Jarrell. But
congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I want to finally, I mean, we didn't go through all the legal adoption, but it'd be the kind of the final cap on being adopted by my family. And so that's going to
awesome,
be huge.
Man.
So
awesome.
I'll let you guys know when that all goes through, legal official, but
of
my
course.
art is signed NAR.
Nice.
Not just because Nicholas Art Ramsey, but my middle name is Alexander. So
that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Definitely. So thank you guys. Seriously, thank you for
of course
promoting my art, and I hope one day it goes somewhere. Maybe we can
have
maybe I'll be one day I can visit you in LA art show with my stuff in it. That would be phenomenal.
Let's put it out in the universe, man.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone who listened. This has been Nerds with Friends with Nicholas Ramsey. Thank you so much. Great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.